about the beloved classics of our childhood. Maybe we're just gluttons for punishment, or maybe there really is more to these so-called wholesome series than we realized. Welcome back, most amazing crew. I am your host Kennedy, and today we're taking a trip down memory lane for the second time, because I'm back to ruin your childhoods with part 2 of the top 10 terrifying Toy Story theories you need to pray aren't real. You ready? Starting us off at number 10 is Sid was from an abusive house. So this may be less of a theory and more of a growing up and realizing that the circumstances Sid was living in were not great. Essentially, the theory is that Sid wasn't a bad kid at all, just a victim of a bad household, and so he let out his frustrations by creating strange mutant toys. There are two sort of pieces to back up this theory. Number one is that he managed to order a rocket to his house in the 90s, which was wild because A, online ordering was not the same as it was today and was certainly not as easy for a child to access, which leads to the second part that one of his parents would have likely had to order it for him, and I guess they just didn't seem to mind or care that their elementary school aged kid wanted a life-threatening rocket. Number two is that Sid's father is seen passed out in front of a television with empty cola cans thrown across the floor, which clearly evokes a much darker image of an alcoholic. Just replace the cola with beer and there you have it. So maybe all this time Sid's poor behavior stemmed from wanting a bit of attention from the adults in his life, which is just so sad if that's true. Next up at number 9 is that it's apparently an analogy for the director's time with Disney. Apparently, before creating the beloved franchise of Toy Story, director John Lasseter was fired from Disney. The reason behind the fire was allegedly due to the fact that Lasseter was pushing for a computer animated method at the time, and Disney was still pretty firm on sticking to hand-drawn films. But still, Lasseter insisted and began working on a computer animated version of The Brave Little Toaster, and this led to him being fired from the company. According to this theory, Toy Story became an analogy for reconciling those differences, as Woody represents the sort of traditional, old age, and already loved method of animation, whereas Buzz represents a newer, more technologically advanced method that Lasseter was pushing for. Of course, at the end of the film, the two become friends and find they have more in common than they originally thought, mirroring the real-life amalgamation of Pixar and Disney in the Toy Story franchise. I mean, it's definitely not the darkest theory on our list, but still I don't really want the whole story behind the movie to be about a feuding company. Coming up at number 8 is Woody could have easily been Lotso. The main villain of Toy Story 3 was the not-so-cuddly pink bear named Lotso, who essentially made the lives of all the toys at Sunnyside Daycare a living hell. What humanized Lotso, though, was his villain origin story. We find out during the film that the bear was accidentally abandoned by his owner, and when he